こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材はブライトンの三笘薫に関する動画です。ブライトンはプレミアリーグ第25節でチェルシーと対戦し、3対0で完勝しました。前の試合のチェルシー戦と同様に、この試合でも三笘が素晴らしいゴールで先制点を挙げ、ブライトンファンはもちろん、フットボールファンがみんな興奮しています。今回は、チェルシーファンのチャンネルである、ザ・フットボールテラスチャンネルから、チェルシー目線で、三笘のゴールに興奮している様子をお届けします。プレミア史上でも歴史に残るようなゴールだったと言い、そういうゴールが見れてよかったとも話しています。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょ
う。Matoma and Minter were running the show, absolute monsters. And look, that brings me on to reviewing the game before I bring my panel out tonight. And you've got to go and give credit to Brighton. First and foremost, Brighton were excellent tonight. They defended well. I liked how at times when they didn't always press, but they still kept their line quite high. They really compressed Chelsea for large parts of that game. To a man, they played well also in their individual positions. They were physical when they needed to be. And their turnaround after getting walloped 7-0 is fantastic. The response has been brilliant. And yes, that they may feel that anxiety and frustration of that game next time they go away to Forest, but I think they're over it. These last two games, the results, the performances, the goals, they're probably over it. The performance was brilliant. The Matoma goal. Let me just say now, that Matoma goal, I've heard Bergkamp-esque, Berbatov-esque, Messi-esque. That first touch was as good as any I've ever seen in the build-up to a goal in Premier League history. To pull it out of the sky, it was like he trapped it like it was a bag of cement. It just, bang, stopped. Out of this world. I think Chalobah maybe could have and should have cleared it. A lot of Chelsea fans angry that the goalkeeper didn't save it. But I'm glad he didn't, because we'd have been robbed of an all-time... That goal was an all-time great Premier League goal, in my opinion. It was fundamentally brilliant. The second goal comes from turning over play with Chelsea trying to play out from the back. And I thought it was offside, but it turns out that Welbeck's behind the ball. He might be ahead of the defenders, but he's behind the ball, so he's onside. They get their second. The third is a wonderful, well-worked goal as well, and Brighton were excellent. And it really could have been 4 or 5. They had chances after going 3-0 up to score, and they really could have put the game to bed. Didn't quite happen for them, but they deserved it. Absolutely no doubt about it whatsoever. Phenomenal from them. But from a Chelsea perspective, defensively naive, all over the place. Individual battles. Cucurella cooked. Absolutely cooked tonight. Thought he was poor. I thought Levi Colwill and Chalobah, just poor. Hesitant, getting pulled out of position. Just really poor central defensive display. Midfield-wise, I thought it was another one of those games, like too many in a Chelsea shirt for Enzo Fernandez, where he's just not imposing himself on the game. Caicedo, I give a little bit of a pass to, because I feel that he has been so consistent in the last 12 months for Chelsea, but I thought he was poor tonight. Late, he could have got sent off, really. There was the booking that he got, but there was a bookable offence very early in the game, which I actually think the referee forgot about, because the ball didn't go out for about 2 or 3 minutes. From an attacking point of view, there isn't a single Chelsea player that gets an ounce of credit. Palmer, trash. And Kunku, invisible. Madueke, look, he goes off with a hamstring injury, so you can't criticise him for that. Pedro Neto did absolutely niche. And Jadon Sancho came on. He had all the freedom that he wanted, but did niente, nil point, again from him. But the entirety of that attack looks poor. The whole group as a collective and individually, shocking. And Enzo Maresca, he started off brilliantly at Chelsea. He got them up near the top of the league. They were playing good quality football. They were moving the ball well. And I was really impressed. And I predicted that Chelsea would challenge for the top 4, I think, at the beginning of the season. A bit in and around that. And then I thought, wow, they're even better than I expected. I didn't see this fall off coming. I have to hold my hands up. I didn't see this fall off coming. And we're getting into that realm of it being a fall off now. That's 2 wins in the last 11 games if you take out the Morecambe match, because as much as you won that game, Chelsea fans expected to, it's a very low-level team. 2 wins from the last 10, only 2 wins in the last 7 Premier League games. 4 of those have been defeats. And even when you look at the West Ham victory recently, if it wasn't for that deflected goal, that may have ended in a draw and a really big chance at the end for West Ham that they missed. And all season, I think one element of criticism Chelsea fans gave out about their own club is we leak too many goals, we leak too many goals, we leak too many goals. And that just hasn't improved. The ball didn't go out in January and do enough. That was absolute negligence from them. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. And now they're left in this position where they're starting to sink. They're starting to sink like the Titanic. And Maresca, I think because he's so inexperienced, he's struggling to find a solution. He is struggling to find how to set up, what players to put out to stop the rot, to concede less goals and to start scoring again. And what was getting Chelsea through is they could outscore teams earlier on in the season. It's not happening anymore. And with Palmer looking off the boil, and I'm sure it will come back to fruition, no number 9s fit are available. You've got players like Neto, Sancho, and Kunku when it comes to the Premier League. Their output is so low, they look in real trouble right now, Chelsea. And they're a team that I felt for sure, if you'd have asked me mid-December, for sure they're making the Champions League positions, for sure. Now I'm looking at that table. Yes, they sit in 4th. But I think City may finish above them. I think Newcastle will. I think Bournemouth will. I think those sides right now are in much better form. And we're getting close to the last 10 games of the season. So there isn't a massive time to recover from this. Chelsea go away to Aston Villa next. Right now, that looks like an L. They have to win it. They then play, I think, Southampton and Leicester, the 2 worst teams in the league, at home. Have to win them. They probably will, but they absolutely have to. If they go for the next 3 games and maybe lose 2 of them or drop points in 2 of those games, I don't think they're going to make the top 4. They may get 5th, which gives them Champions League football. But I know that all Chelsea fans worth their soul are looking at the performances, because performances are what you build on. They're what create the consistency. Because Chelsea next season, they have to be challenging for a league title. That will be going into the 4th year of this rebuild. Over £1 billion spent. More money will be spent in the summer. So those performances must start getting better this deep into a club rebuild. But I want to know what you thought went wrong tonight. I want to get your opinions. We've got Jay coming on in a minute. We've got Ronin coming on as well. That's Jay, as in Javerne coming on to have his say. A few super chats here that I want to go to. Firstly, Matoma's goal has goal of the season. But this for Chelsea was a no-show. And for the money they have spent, it's unacceptable. And I just want to know, what if this was Poch? Would the energy be the same for Enzo? Is what Joshua Jack has asked the Chelsea fans in the audience. Let us know, people. Let us know right now. I don't understand why Brighton are celebrating so much. Not that hard to beat us. I'm actually annoyed they didn't make it. 6 would have been fairer. But they're celebrating. I will say this as well. The one thing I did think is Chelsea did something tonight that really annoyed me. Brighton kicked the ball out for them and they didn't give the ball back. And there's just something about that rubs me up the wrong way. Like, you're not gonna be in favour with whether it's karma, whether it's the football gods, whether it's just anything. I just thought that was really, really poor play. Terry, what did you make of the disallowed goal for Chelsea? I didn't think it was much of a push, if I'm being honest. I didn't think it was much of a push in it at all. Defender makes the most of it. But where I'll defend Chelsea on this, if you're gonna say that Joe Linton on Gabriel is not a foul, if you're gonna say the push or the nudge or the contact on Konate is not a foul, I'm not too sure how you're giving this one. Maybe because it was so obvious. Sometimes that plays a part in it. Maybe it could have been a little more subtle, potentially. But I didn't think there was much in it. I didn't think it was a hard enough push to make him fall over. Maybe it's because the defender didn't arch his back and he just fell straight over. I'm not too sure. But, I thought that was a little harsh, to be fair. Brighton defensively was good, not usually. Yeah, they've looked good in the last 2 games against Chelsea defensively. And they're usually a little suspect. Chalobah and Nkunku are the victims again. When are we going to talk about Levi Colwill being a statue and Cole Palmer ghosting through games mid-players? Well, we're going to bring that up to the panel when they come out, AJ. Don't you worry about that. I need to show my S&C clients Matoma's goal, a perfect example of core strength and balance Yeah. So, strength and conditioning clients. I think is that what that means? I assume that's what that means. Yeah, it was. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal what he did.
次は解説です。チェルシーファンであることからテリーはロンドン人だろうと思われますが、癖が少ない、聞き取りやすい英語に感じますね。今回も解説したいボキャブラリーが多くなってしまいましたが、TOEICに出るような簡単なボキャブラリーもいくつか含めていますので、初心者から上級者までそれぞれのレベルでお楽しみください。それでは本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。Matoma and Menta were running the show.
ランザショーは物事を主導する、支配する、仕切るという意味のイディオムゼ。直訳すると、ショーを運営するですが、比喩的に中心となって活躍する。試合や会議などをリードするという意味で使われます。スポーツでは試合を支配した選手やチームを指し、ビジネスではプロジェクトのリーダーや重要な役割を果たす人に対しても使われます。試合やイベント、会議などの文脈で応用できる便利なフレーズです。
Matoma and Menta were running the show. Matoma and Menta were running the show. They really compressed Chelsea for large parts of that game.
コンプレスは圧縮する、押し縮める、凝縮するという意味の動詞で。物理的に空気やデータを圧縮するという意味だけでなく、スポーツやビジネスの場面では守備をコンパクトにする、情報を簡潔にまとめるという意味でも使われます。
They really compressed Chelsea for large parts of that game. They really compressed Chelsea for large parts of that game. And their turnaround after getting walloped 7-0 is fantastic.
ワラップは強く打つ、叩きのめす、大敗させるという意味を持つ動詞名詞で特にイギリスで使用されます。カジュアルな表現として使われ、スポーツでは大敗する、圧勝するという意味でよく使われ、日常会話では強打する、ぶん殴るという意味でも使われることがあります。
And their turnaround after getting walloped 7-0 is fantastic. And their turnaround after getting walloped 7-0 is fantastic. Where he's just not imposing himself on the game.
インポーズオンは誰かに負担をかける、押し付ける、何かに影響を与えるという意味を持つフレーズで、特に誰かに迷惑をかける、何かを強制するというニュアンスで使われることが多いです。ビジネス、法律、日常会話など様々な場面で使用されますが、ネガティブな意味で使われることが多いため、誰かの時間や親切に甘える場合や、ルールや負担を一方的に押し付ける場合に使います。
Where he's just not imposing himself on the game. Where he's just not imposing himself on the game. I say though, I give a little bit of a pass to because I feel that
give someone a pass は人のミスや行動を多めに見る、許す、不問にするという意味のフレーズで、相手のミスやルール違反を状況を考慮して見逃す、厳しく評価しないというニュアンスで使われます。
I say though, I give a little bit of a pass to because I feel. I say though, I give a little bit of a pass to because I feel that there isn't a single Chelsea player that gets an ounce of credit.
アンオンスオブはほんの少しの、わずかなという意味の表現で、オンスは重さの単位約 28g ですが、比喩的にごくわずか、ほんの少しを強調するために使われます。この表現は否定文で使われることが多く、特に少しもなんなんない、全くなんなんないと強調したいときに使います。
There isn't a single Chelsea player that gets an ounce of credit. There isn't a single Chelsea player that gets an ounce of credit. Pedro Neto did absolutely niche.
ニッシュはナッシングのスラングで、特にイギリスの口語表現で使われることがあります。特に若者の間で使われることがあるカジュアルなスラングで、スポーツやストリート英語などの文脈で見られることがありますが、フォーマルな場面では使われません。
Pedro Neto did absolutely niche. Pedro Neto did absolutely niche. And we're getting into that realm of it being a fall off now.
デールムは領域、分野、王国、世界という意味の名詞で、フォーマルな文脈で使われることが多く、ビジネス、学術、ファンタジーなどの幅広いジャンルで登場します。 物理的な領域だけでなく、抽象的な分野も指すことができる単語です。
And we're getting into that realm of it being a fall off now. We're getting into that realm of it being a fall off now. What players to put out to stop the rot?
ロットは、主に腐る、劣化する、悪化するという意味を持ち、名詞と動詞で使われます。食べ物、木、金属などの物理的な腐敗や、状況や組織、道徳などの抽象的な悪化を表すことができます。ビジネス、スポーツ、社会問題など、幅広い文脈で使われる単語です。
What players to put out to stop the rot? What players to put out to stop the rot? That rubs me up the wrong way.
Love someone up the wrong way は、誰かの気に障ることをする。苛立たせる。神経を逆なでするという意味のイディオムで、特に意図せず相手を不快にさせる。無意識にイライラさせるという状況で使われることが多いです。もともとは、猫の毛を逆方向に撫でると不快に感じることから生まれた表現だと言われています。
That rubs me up the wrong way. That rubs me up the wrong way. Whether it's karma, whether it's the football gods.
カルマは、業、因果応報、運命という意味の名詞で、もともとは仏教やヒンドゥー教の概念で、自分の行いが未来に影響を及ぼすという考え方を指します。現代英語では、宗教的な意味だけでなく、良い行いをすれば良いことが返ってきて、悪い行いをすれば悪いことが返ってくるという因果応報の考え方として、カジュアルに使われます。
Whether it's karma, whether it's football gods, whether it's karma, whether it's football gods, sometimes that plays a part in it.
プレイヤーパートは役割を果たす、関与する、影響を与えるという意味のフレーズで、直訳するとパートを演じるですが、比喩的に何かの出来事や結果に関与する、重要な役割を担うという意味で使われます。この表現はビジネス、スポーツ、日常会話など幅広い場面で使えます。
Sometimes that plays a part in it. Sometimes that plays a part in it. I need to show my S&C clients Matoma's goal.
S&C は、ストレングス&コンディショニングの略で、アスリートの体力強化やパフォーマンス向上を目的としたトレーニングプログラムを指します。主にスポーツ選手やフィットネス分野で使われる専門用語で、筋力であるストレングスとコンディショニングを向上させるためのトレーニングを指し、S&C コーチとは、アスリートのパフォーマンス向上や怪我の予防のために、トレーニングやリハビリ計画を作成する専門のコーチのことを指します。
I need to show my S&C clients Matoma's goal. I need to show my S&C clients Matoma's goal.
いかがでしたか？金曜日に行われた試合が1試合のみだったこともあって、ちょっとした三笘フィーバーと言っていいほど、三笘のゴールに現地のフットボールファンがみんな興奮していたようにさえ感じます。ジェイミー・ギャラガーも、ジャパニーズ・ギャラガーも、見れば見るほど、プレミアリーグ史上、これまで見たことのないようなトラップだったと興奮して話していました。確かに見れば見るほど、うっとりするようなファーストタッチと、最低限の2回のタッチでシュートモーションに入り、4回目のタッチでゴールを決めるまで。滑らかすぎて、こんなことできるんだったらもっとたくさんやってよ、とさえ思うくらい、最高のタッチと最高のゴールでしたし。ゴールオブザシーズンにも、間違いなくノミネートされるほどでしょうから。この余韻に浸りながら、また次戦でも良いプレーが見れるよう応援したいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。